Nuke incoming!
Hey all you people, I'm back from the dead. Here today to bring you some amazing new content. I know that you all deeply and sorely missed me, and hey, it feels good to be back. And what better way for me to come back to YouTube than with a game review of one of the worst pieces of shit games I have ever played in recent memory. So, if you didn't know about Resident Evil 4, it's universally praised as the best Resident Evil game in the entire franchise. And to that I say bull fucking shit. The people saying this are clearly just mindless sheep following the bandwagon so that they can get tons of likes in YouTube comment sections. And wouldn't you believe it, this little faggot agrees with this assessment. Because if you saw his Resident Evil 3 review, you would have seen this image that shows you what he thinks of each game in the series. And of fucking course, Resident Evil 4 is right up there at the top of that list. Well, I guess it's time for me to bring the people to their senses and show you all just how truly terrible Resident Evil 4 is and why it doesn't even fucking compare to the classic trilogy of the PS1 Resident Evil games. I shall accomplish this by, as usual, ripping this game apart in detailed little sections, as I've done in most of my other videos. Okay, I'll start off with the graphics for this game. They are absolutely rancid. These graphics are a far cry from the original trilogy's stunning and beautifully handcrafted graphics. Just look at the character models in classic Resident Evil. They convey so many deep, biting, and heartfelt emotions. With facial and bodily animations so smooth and realistic, it really makes the player sympathize with the hardships these characters are enduring. And now look at Resident Evil 4's character models. They're unexpressive, angry, and look so hyper-realistic that it would make creepypastas seem tame by comparison. I can't believe this was considered passable for the PS2 when we had games with amazing graphics like Spider-Man 2, Sonic Adventure 1, Death Note, and especially the original Resident Evil trilogy. Also, take a look at the environments from the original Resident Evil games. They make for the perfect blend of unease, tension, and paranoia, making sure that you never once felt completely confident that you were safe in any particular room. That is, until the music cues let you know otherwise, but I'll get to that in a little bit. From the shading, coloring, and lighting, along with the brilliant camera angles, everything was absolutely perfect to make the environment look as real and as unsettling as it could be. Then Resident Evil 4 comes in and says, "Nah mate, that shit sucks. Take a look at this grass, isn't it so realistic and not pixelated in the slightest? Look at all these fucking grey and brown textures. It makes me want to regurgitate my lunch onto an easel, because I know for a fact that it would look more stunning than this shite." And even when the game does remember that other colors exist, it's all just to serve as an edgy reminder that this game is hardcore and only a few rooms in the game are actually good on the eyes. So thanks a lot Capcom, you somehow managed to make a game made in 2005 look even worse than the previous games made in 1996, 1998, and 1999 respectively.
Good job.
Okay, so in classic Resident Evil, you moved your character around with tank controls and inspected every piece of this beautiful fixed camera angle world so that you could find keys to open doors. And when you used said key to open said doors, you would then find some really important item that needed to be inserted into something else you had to spend 5 to 10 minutes to backtrack to find more keys that opened more doors, with a puzzle every now and then. Then after completing said puzzle, you would be given another important piece of something needed to open another door. That may lead to a boss fight. Watch, rinse, repeat for nearly the whole game. It was the perfect way to play Resident Evil, and it never got tedious in the slightest. I swear! And in Resident Evil 4, you still move your character around with tank controls and find keys to open doors, but they also added stupid shit like money drops, items that you can sell for money to upgrade weapons, or buy shit from Merchant X Machina over here, fucking quick time events, and no beautiful fixed camera angled areas to explore. I mean, Who wants to explore a world where you can go 5 to 10 minutes without having to find a key that's needed to open a door so that you could find more keys to open more doors? Who wants to explore a world where you make money to buy useless shit and upgrade weapons? And don't even get me started on the quick time events. Oh my god. These quick time events are so horribly programmed that there's a random chance that the game will immediately take you to the game over screen for attempting to play the game. Gee, thanks Capcom. Not only that, they ruined the combat from the classic games as well. It was so fun and simple to pull off, since all you had to do was stand in an enemy's direct path, ready the weapon, then fire, and don't stop firing until that enemy dies. You could also aim up or down if you wanted to, but honestly, the standard aiming was all you really needed to kill most of the enemies in the game. Now doesn't that sound amazing? Having the combat be so shallow that it couldn't even classify as a kiddie pool. It's simple as all hell, but it works so well to build the tension as zombies and even some bosses walk towards you at the slowest fucking speeds in existence. And in Resident Evil 4, they decided to give the player manual aiming, which is retarded. Now I have to actually aim to land my shots. What kind of bullshit is this? Also, in Capcom's infinite wisdom, they decided to make enemies bullet sponges so that they could make it seem like their game was going to be harder, when in fact, it is way easier than any of the other classic Resident Evil games. For instance, the knife is way better than before. They added melee attacks whenever you shoot enemies on certain points of their body to stun them. There's also the aforementioned weapon upgrading system, along with the addition of 3 grenade types: flash, incendiary, and just regular old grenades. Not to mention ammo and health items are freaking everywhere you go, further decreasing the challenge that this game never had in the first place. Here was my inventory at the start of the game, here was my inventory halfway through the game, and here's my inventory by the time I reached the final boss. And this was on professional mode, just FYI. I rest my case. Let's move on, shall we? Now let's go over the music, since I brought it up earlier. The music in classic Resident Evil was perfect at building an unsettling atmosphere to keep the player on edge as they played the game. Just take a listen to these 3 songs I have here to demonstrate exactly what I mean. Ah, just beautiful.
Nice.
Don't you agree? This is the kind of music that puts a player on edge. So, how's the music in Resident Evil 4? Oh, that's right, there is none. Checkmate Crapcom. And there you have it folks, irrefutable proof that Resident Evil 4 is a huge pile of cursed ankoank, and that the classic trilogy of Resident Evil games is clearly the superior way to play Resident Evil. Hopefully I have opened your mind up to these facts as I have laid them down to you, so that you can dive into Resident Evil 4 forums, and tell these wannabe Resident Evil gamers the harsh truth they so desperately need to hear. And as always, if you liked this video,
then subscribe to PewDiePie.
Is he gone? I think he's gone. In that case, let me tell you all how Resident Evil 4 is actually the greatest game in the franchise and how